But your time here is almost over. Have you really lost track of time that much? I guess it does make sense. The days bleed into the nights when there's no sunset, and you don't need to fall asleep to rest and recover. Well, it is. Though I guess I should prepare you for when we come out of this chamber. Once we go back to the real world, you will still need rest. Likely every single day, yes. My energy helps you train here, but it will not last forever. Maybe. There are a couple of ways to make that, increase in energy a lot more permanent. But I don't know if you would be willing to agree to those terms. It would slightly alter the deal we have already made. I would not alter the deal without approval. Oh, very well. If you're at least interested in hearing, there are two options. Option one, I travel with you and continue to imbue you with my energy. And that way, you will be able to accomplish even more every single day. But the downside of that is that I would have to be with you, which means I can't be here guarding my hoard. So, if that is the option you would like, there will be a big requirement placed on it. It has to be worth my time, you know. We'll see. The second option, definitely the easier one for me, is if you, essentially, yeah, you make a second deal with me, and I give you a fraction of my soul to keep within you, and that will ensure you have boundless energy. No, you see, it would have a whole host of other side effects. For instance, if you receive a wound in battle, I will feel it. And if I'm going to put myself at risk of harm, well, there would have to be a, yes, an equal payoff for me. Otherwise, the risk just isn't worth it. Besides, it's not like I can normally be harmed anyway. I wouldn't want to open up that opportunity when it's... Well, it has to be worth my time, worth my consideration. You've already pledged to be a champion for me. What more could you even offer? Well, if you do come up with something, consider me willing to listen. But until then, I'm afraid the two of us have... But until then, the two of us have reached the end of our time together. Just about. Well, there is one final thing I wanted to teach you. And I wasn't sure if you'd be able to handle it, but given the way you've grown and improved over these last few years, I think you can. So, I am going to teach you one of my most precious and closely guarded secrets. And I hope you appreciate just how lucky you are that I'm even offering this. None of my other champions know this skill. Not one of them. But there is something about you, and I believe you would put this skill to great use. Quite simply, it's a version of immortality. I have tethered much of myself to this chamber. Yes, that's exactly why there are things I remember here that I will not on the mortal plane. And I can bind a portion of you to this realm as well. Now that will mean two things. One, I am always able to communicate with you wherever you are. And two, should your physical body ever be severely injured, you could reform yourself within this chamber. Well, then I would let you back out into the mortal world. You wouldn't be trapped here. That would make for a horrible benefit for you. Well, at least if your goal is to get that orb back for your family. Think of it this way. You would have the ability to take greater risk, because the worst case scenario, your failure, your untimely death, would only be a minor setback. That's the benefit of the time dilation effect. Yes, it would take a significant amount of time to regenerate, but fortunately that time would amount to only a couple of minutes. Well, if you are, in fact, my champion, the ability to communicate from any distance, at any time, well, that sounds incredibly helpful, don't you think? I don't know. Perhaps you need guidance. Perhaps there's something you don't understand and you could use a little bit of help. Or maybe you could use a little bit of extra training while you're not here. Well, it's not a direct, perfect correlation, but it is possible to have a version of yourself here training while your actual self is out questing and doing whatever task it is I have for you. Well, I think the benefits of that are obvious. Your strength would continue to grow because the training in here would still be accelerated, and it wouldn't directly and instantly apply to you, but in the event that you did need to regenerate, or in the event that you came back here and re-entered this chamber, yes, the two halves of you could fuse together and further increase your power. And then we could do it again and take just a small portion of your soul and leave it here in this chamber to continue training while your newly enhanced self goes out to continue accomplishing even more incredible feats. You won't remember that part after you leave. You won't. Because it's important for the security of this place, for the security of this plane that we both live on, that this information stay hidden. But this is exactly how I have gained so much power. You could look at it that way. I would disagree. It's not a phylactery. I'm not imbuing your soul into an object. I'm imbuing it into a dimension. In that sense, you would almost be something of a god here, and this would become a shared dimension between the two of us. Granted, I will still retain control here. Do not even think of trying to wrestle it away from me. Oh, I didn't think you would, but just for simplicity of conversation, it's smart to get these subjects out of the way. So if this is something you are interested in, perfect. Well, then I will have to get things started because it is a bit of a lengthy and involved ritual. And while I do that, it is critical that you stay here. So, well, it's difficult to say until I actually get started. It really depends on how much your soul resists being divided, for lack of a better term. Some souls are very easily split, others not so much, and well, have you ever tried to break a large object, like a boulder or a tree? Then you will know from experience that when you break it, sometimes things splinter and shatter, and the break is not always clean. There can be extra pieces that fall all around you. It's similar enough, yes. If I do this and split your soul, there is the possibility of fragments of it being lost. Which is why it will take a great amount of time, because the more fragments are lost, the less effective it will be. It's not necromancy, it's soul magic, and the two are very different. I do not reanimate the dead. I let those who have fallen rest peacefully, but I also would be willing in some situations, under some circumstances, to help someone put off that inevitable final rest. And from the conversations we have had here, and the training that you have undergone, and the things we have done together, even in the short time we've been here. Oh, but it is short. I know it feels like years and years and years here, and even assuming it was, I have been alive for thousands. So at least for me, this is a very short time. But you have impressed me. Time and time again you have impressed me. From the moment you walked into my cave till now, you have amused me and intrigued me and impressed me. And it is rare that anyone do all three, much less a mortal, and even more unlikely a human. So I offer you things I do not offer to any. Because in the time we've been here, in the time you have been inside of my realm, I have seen into your soul. And I know that I can trust you. Or at least I believe it. And with all of the wisdom and knowledge and experience I have gained, I have learned to trust my instincts on these things. I do not believe you would betray me. Plus, even if you did want to, the magic of this realm would, well, the portion of your soul that remained here would be very unhappy with the consequences of that decision. I am not one. I'm not a being of malice. But I do not appreciate betrayal, and I will punish it severely. So, before you agree to this, you need to understand the consequences. If you do betray me, and even unintentionally betray me, you will regret it for eternity. But if you do not, well, you will receive benefits for eternity. So the question is, are you willing to accept these terms? Because if you are, your energy levels will never drop. You may never need sleep again. Well, it's all theoretical. I've never really done this before. I understand the magic at play. I just don't know how it will interact with your biology. And I don't know how it will compound with the time you've already spent here. It could be you will become the strongest champion. Not just my strongest champion, but the strongest to ever walk the earth. Or it could be just that you are incapable of truly being slain because you will always come back. Honestly, I think either one of those is a very good option. I think those both hold tremendous benefit for you. Perfect. Then I will begin the ritual and prepare for the incantation. And while I'm doing all of this, I would like you to continue your training. Oh, right, you've lost track of time here. There are another 2 months of training before the 5 years are complete. But it should not take that long for me to finish. It should only take a couple of weeks. This type of magic is not exactly a simple spell. There is a lot at work. It is a very intricate, complicated equation. And we don't want something to go wrong. Remember the consequences I spoke about. We do not want your soul shattering into pieces. We just want a clean snip, almost like trimming the branch of a tree. It might. Well, it probably won't feel very good, at the very least, even if it's not outright painful. I don't think it will feel enjoyable. Which means, in order to offset that, well, I've already explained this realm is a construct of my own being. You are inside of me, my soul, my being right now. And in order for part of you to remain here, to remain inside of me, we're going to have to join together very intimately. I can read your soul while you're here, remember? You know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. You just don't want to assume. But you are correct. I will begin the ritual. And you will continue training, and when the ritual is ready, you will join with me. And together, the two of us will create the space for your soul to join with mine. I can't imagine it would. In fact, the splitting of your soul may be very uncomfortable, maybe even painful, but joining with me, I would imbue you with even more of my power, permanently, and I promise you this level of power feels amazing. So why don't we begin? Hello everyone, Star here, and thank you for listening to this video, audio, kind of thing. It's always cool, like, in my head, for me, to be recording sequels to Fan Friday stuff. And I've said that before, right? I have. But it's still really cool, because it's this continuation of the story that we as a community put together. At least the basis. And I've wrestled with trying, like in my head, to figure out if I could integrate more voting into like second and third and fourth parts. in the future, I'm really not sure how I would manage that. If I did do that, I think that would end up being probably a patron benefit. Purely because like that would just be so many community posts going on so often, and uh I don't always keep up with my community posts. I mean to do one every day, but then like I'll forget. Hell, I don't do my patron updates as much as I mean to either. So I don't know. It's I guess just future forward looking planning idea thing is kind of what we're at right now for that. But either way, it's so fun. You know, a lot of the series that I have going on right now are Fan Friday series, and it's so cool. I'm a lot of times I have a feeling I know which, you know, picture is gonna win, which story prompt is gonna win, but sometimes you guys surprise me. And that's a great thing. Doing too much of the same thing over and over and over kind of gets a little stale, almost. Like, I want to switch it up, change it up. So that is, I think, all I've got right now. Pretty sure. I don't know. Whatever. I'll record another audio. If there's something missing, I'll put it in there. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for listening. And goodbye for now. Mwah.